Greetings everybody, Rocco Passafuime here, and we are at the Long Beach International Film Festival. I am going to interview as many filmmakers as I can tonight. This is like my favorite time of the year. I love this, so I am going to show you the best and the brightest of this year's event. Come with me. I'm here with Mina Chow. Talk to us about your film.
So my name is Mina Chow, and I am the director and producer of Face of a Nation, What Happened to the World's Fair. Basically the story is about how America abandoned the World's Fair and how that's connected to the erosion of our American image, which is very timely right now. We tell the story of what happened 25 years ago when we stopped wanting to participate in other countries' world fairs, and how that's led to the world thinking that all we care about is our trade relations, our money and war. So it's a story that's told by architects. So some of the most famous architects in the world are in the film, like Frank Gehry, Barton Myers. There's a genius that used to, basically he was the guy that believed in all of America's creative people, and he hired people like Buckminster Fuller, Ray and Charles Eames, Davis Brody. They helped put America on the map by showing the best of America's creative people. If you're not familiar with world fairs, they're the place that we showcase pretty much all of our greatest American innovations. It starts with like the 1851 World Expo in London, and where we showcase the Crystal Palace, and it went all the way through the 19th and 20th century. When we started with like 1851 in London, then we went to Paris Exposition where we had the Eiffel Tower, The Devil in the White City, if you're familiar with that book, that happened at the Great Columbian Exposition in 1893 in Chicago. We've had world fairs in the United States starting in 1876, the one in Philadelphia, and then we've had ones in like I mentioned, 1893, 1915 in San Francisco. There's a whole history of world fairs, but in the period after the Cold War ended, that's the time period where we focus our movie, when pretty much we decided that they weren't really important events. Why should we go? Why should we spend the money? Not really understanding that these are some of the most important events that showcase the best of America, and it's really one of the few events where we showcase our American citizens, and we have able to talk to the citizens of the world about representing who we are as people. So it's one of the few events where you can actually meet like Iranians, Afghanis, Iraqis, and really talk to them as everyday human beings. But it's also an event where we showcase some of the best innovations. Like, for example, the iPhone, the touch screen was first showcased at a world fair. Elevators, electricity, pop, there's too many zippers and stuff like that.
But I've noticed there's been a couple of that the expos, they still go on in other parts of the world. What do you think they're benefiting from having that? Like, why is it so important for America to have this make a comeback and having world fairs?
It is so critical to engage internationally. We do not live as a country by itself. We've got too many connections to other countries. So if you decide as a country not to participate, you're basically pretty much snubbing the country. As one of the articles in our film showcases, that when we stop participating in Seville, America snubs Seville. That's the headline. National humiliation. That was another headline in the 2010 Shanghai World Expo. This is a story that's never been told by film or anybody else. It's an original story.
I should mention, though, that I grew up originally in Queens, and we had a World's Fair in 1964, so it's definitely something that I'm very, very familiar with, as it's definitely made a lasting impact on the history of where I grew up.
So our story begins at the 1964 New York World's Fair, when my mom and dad got engaged there. And when I was 12 years old, my dad showed me their pictures in front of the architecture, and it's how I decided to become an architect. Fast forward to 2010, and and I go to a World's Fair in China and I lose my dream as an architect. So you see the story of how I try to find out what happened to America, and that is pretty much the journey we cover in the film.
What happened exactly with, like, what was like the official reason why America stopped the World's Fairs? Because I did some research on the fairs they had in the 80s, and they were fraught with problems. What did they tell you about, like, what exactly was the official reason behind why they ultimately abandoned them?
Well, the events have always been somewhat controversial because they cost a lot of money to put on, and there's always this controversy of, oh, is it worth putting the money into, right? The problem is, it's not just about our trade relations and making money on these events. It's really about a very important aspect of representation of the American people. So when you have a World Fair in the United States, it's a different part of US government. We're covering actually when we go to other countries' World Fairs, which is a different branch. It's called it's the State Department, and it used to be under the United States Information Agency, but it's now under the Department of Cultural Affairs. But why America doesn't even have them anymore is because we got kicked out of the organization for World's Fairs because we stopped paying our dues.
If there was an ideal place, if, you know, say you got your wish and there was a World's Fair in America again, what would be the ideal place to you that it should be held?
I think any part of America that wants to bring back dialogue. So if there are parts of the country, whether it's Minneapolis, because I think they wanted to host one and they were able to bid on one this year, because the good news is we rejoined the Bureau of International Expos this year. So there is a movement back where there are a lot of Americans that want to bring the World Fair back to the United States. But there are other cities like San Francisco, LA, I mentioned Minneapolis, that want to host it. I think anywhere in the world, anywhere in the United States that is interested in having dialogue with the people of the world and bringing back conversation about who we are to the rest of the world, then I think that's the best place to be.
All right, but thank you very, very much for your time.